All right. Hey, everyone. Today our cameras are on. See your beautiful faces. This is N, pronouns they, them, head of community here at Livepeer, and welcome to our weekly water cooler. We will have announcements from me, then announcements from Rick from Foundation, and then we'll go into our topics for today. Big announcements from me. We have a number of events coming up. I just posted an announcement, so all of it summarized there. We're going to be having 3 delegator workshops coming up in the next 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, we're going to have one in Abuja, Nigeria. We're going to have an online one, which anyone can access, and then we're going to have one here in my home city, Salt Lake City, Utah, in the U.S. So if you're interested or in any of those locations, feel free to RSVP on the in the announcements. I linked the Lumas there, or if you're in those places, I've hung posters up around town. And Winna, who's doing the one in Nigeria, hung up posters, so feel free to check those out. We also have some dashboards that are now live that Rick just posted, and you can find those also in general. Other than that, nothing else from me. Over to you, Rick.
Yes, let me quickly share my screen so that we can have a clear visual of where we are with the advisory board. And can you confirm that you see my screen?
Yes, I do.
Nice. So here an update from Rick. So for people that don't know me, I'm currently the technical director at the Livepeer Foundation. I want to give a quick update of the advisory board. That has been in motion for the last weeks there, really working towards strengthening Livepeer's vision, getting a technical roadmap together. And this is currently the strategy of doing this. As we already saw in the last week, we were in the discover phase, the define phase. So first, we gathered data from the ecosystem trends. There was a survey that a lot of people filled in. Then we identified opportunities, challenges, risks, and defined strategic pillars. Those were published last week. I will republish the links in the chat here so that people can check that out again. And last week, the advisory was really focused on leveraging these pillars to draft domain-specific tactical objectives. And currently, we're in the synthesis phase of that, and I think it's going really well. Everybody is really a good job. We have a really good group. We're really happy with the progress, and I'm looking forward to support the boards in the final stages of their work from the foundation side. So my board is the network board. And another thing that was not planned, but that we did with between the growth board and the network board, is that we saw an opportunity to also look at the go-to-market strategy for the Livepeer system already. There's a lot of overlap and collaboration opportunity between these two boards. So that for network advisory boards and the growth advisory boards, I did an extra exercise last week to really look at what are the go-to-market bets, what are the audiences and this will really help us further work on the domain specific tactical objectives and synthesize them into finally then a roadmap for the Livepeer system. So um, yeah, so like I said, on the foundation side, we're currently preparing for the final synthesis in the coming weeks and facilitating also the collaboration between
Oh, also
the
FTK, can
teams
you
there.
mute? Sorry. Thank you.
So I
All right.
think that was an update from our side. If there are questions, I'm available and also here, but also in the Discord, you can just tag me or Joseph or Ritz or Ben. Great, thank you for your time, man.
Awesome. Of course.
Hey,
And
Rick, quick question for you. I know you mentioned that these advisory boards have a certain term limit. I just want to, if you don't mind, refreshing my memory as to when the next round of advisory board um, submittees are going to be in. Because over the summer, I've been quite busy, but I'm looking in the fall, and I'd be real interested to jump in there and participate. But I know you guys are still getting off the ground, so I don't really want to push too hard. Just curious.
Yeah, of course, I can answer that. So the boards itself, they run for 6 months. During this month, they have they make it the recommendations for the Livepeer ecosystem. They also then have how do you call that term in English? Have meetings. I will just call it meetings on topics for Livepeer system during this 6 months. That's also explained in the post that I will share in the chat. So after 6 months, there will be a new advisory board, and I think currently I'm not sure when the submissions will open, but we can give you an update later, or if Joseph already knows that he type it in the chat. Yeah, it
Yeah,
would be amazing
I just
to
want
have
to,
you on
I'm
board.
sure as you guys get closer, just don't forget to remind us because I'm definitely curious to get involved next one.
Yeah, it would be great to have you there. I think already the last weeks were really exciting. All the discussions that we dived really deep in topics that are important for the library ecosystem. Also, what I think was really beneficial is having outside experts there, having core contributors from the community, and it would be nice to have you so your submission in for the next board.
Are these meetings you're having, are they open or are they closed meetings?
So we had one meeting that was in person before that. A lot of the tasks were their async meetings. This week again, there is like a in meeting with all the board members again. So currently, I think those were private. I so they were not shared, but we can look into that, and also Joseph can come back to you on that.
Okay, no worries. Like I said, I know this is a lot of the foundational stuff you guys are building out right now. So I'd imagine there's definitely a lot of legwork, probably a little bit of chaos, but I'm sure at the other end it'll be a nice, well organized set of parameters for folks going forward.
Yeah, and always we really appreciate feedback on the form post, feedback on the process. Things like, for example, we want to have things public. We try to publish everything mostly in like a clear form, meaning that a lot of those meetings there's a lot of discussions and people that interest. But mainly after that, we really look to publish articles, form posts that is really easy to distill by the community. That was our decision right now. But
Yeah.
thank you for the feedback. If you have any other feedback, let us know.
Yeah, so like don't underestimate the ability to get involved just by sharing like structured ideas or input on the forum posts themselves for each of the advisory boards, because I think any like proactive, willing contribution or communication is certainly going to be read, internalized, going to carry a lot of weight when the chairs are synthesizing the ideas and whatnot. So yeah, you don't need to sit on your hands. I think any input you have on the particular boards certainly can be taken into account. I'm sure as they move forward with their process, like
Yeah, thanks, Doug. I'm not sitting around. Definitely, I met with Rick last week. We had a nice discussion, about some of the general topics. So I'm definitely going to continue to add my 2 cents where I can. But I just wanted to see if I could take a more active role in the future.
sweet.
Yeah, and one note for me is that if we are interested today, we can always like look over the strategic pillars, and I can try to capture some feedback if anybody has any. So feel free to maybe in chat if you're interested in that. We can do that towards the end as another topic. I always encourage the dialogue around the strategic pillars that came out. Right now is like the key time for feedback. So definitely want to make sure everyone's voice is heard there. All right, any other comments, questions before we get into our topics? All right. So the first topic that was mentioned by Mulamin in the audience, and I can invite you up if you're interested in speaking. Yeah, so I'm not sure what specifically your question was around inflation. I think you might be new to the community, so welcome in. But I can answer any questions about inflation, or we can just generally talk about inflation. So, yeah, right now, I mean, I just posted an announcement about it. We reached above 50% participation for, I think it was a few days. And then we have dipped below it. I think at last I checked before posting the announcement this morning, it was at 49.5%, so not too far below. However, we have reached a peak of inflation after ticking down for a bit. So, the inflation starting to go up again. Muliman, does that answer? Or go ahead, Titan.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna about the topic of inflation. just listening to recent podcasts on how obviously macro like Bitcoin institutions and hedge funds are buying Bitcoin, and they have the MicroStrategy method for institutions, and then how they were comparing that and contrasting it to Ethereum and Solana. And one of the major problems with institutions doing this strategy is because of taxation, and how in this inflation creates taxable events for holders. And so it becomes extremely tax you have an extreme disadvantage by having this inflation. And they were worried about 3 to 5% inflation. In terms of Solana, it's like 8%, like, or a little bit more even. And so where we sit with Livepeer being global inflation for the token is something like 15-20%, but like individually we could be seeing something like 60-70% inflation on your tokens. That is like a very large taxable event in most jurisdictions, right? And so this, like, yes, you get to keep your amount proportionally to the network, but at the same time, like, it still just becomes this huge taxable event, that many delegators and orchestrators have to deal with that. And so I just echo the concern of high inflation because of these things. I just finished my taxes and it was brutal. And I think the Livepeer network does need to think about that as an implication, because it's just it's very high, and there's becoming more clarity on how to handle these type of things in reference to tax. So I just think high inflation can really affect or deter people with that thing to calculate. So just to some 2 cents.
Yeah, very. Oh, I hear myself in. Yeah. So very good point there. Again hearing myself. Very good point, Titan. I had the same thing. I had to do my taxes as well. So I think one thing that's important, I think, for orchestrators right now is ensure that you get enough money out for doing your taxes every month, so that when the price fluctuates a lot, you don't have this deficit. I think that the inflation topic is very important. I'm part of like the protocol working group. Doug is also here. He's also part of that. The latest update that we gave can be read on the form. I can give a little bit more information on that if it's needed, or Doug, you can take that. Right now, we have some things in motion.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that can be said, but it's came up often on these calls. I mean, we've said a lot in the past, so I definitely recommend reading the post if you want to get up to speed. And then, yeah, if it seems like there's a lull in the action, um, again, there's lots of options out there. Anyone can move forward and make a LIP proposal based on those options, and the community can vote if they have a sound proposal they feel good about. But I think that the structured way it's being tackled is through the advisory boards, which have identified it as a strategic priority, and then the chairs will come forward and make recommendations for what needs to be funded and built and exist in the ecosystem in order to tackle this head on.
Yeah, thank you. So it's a complex topic, of course. If you want to read more, as Doug said, read it in the latest forum post that I shared. In there, we do some preparatory work before the advisory boards. We are still working with the protocol team to, for example, look at like improving the less solution with the proxy contract. It's also explained in there. Also, we're looking to work with the research team to do more research into like the right parameters there. But apart from that, mostly from our end, we will wait for the advisory boards to give more recommendations.
Awesome. And Lumen, I hope that answered your questions. Maybe a bit more than you bargained for with that question, but as someone new to the community. But regardless, welcome in. And if you have any follow-up questions or thoughts about the inflation, please let us know in chat. All right. Up next, I think we had some topics from Define, if I'm not mistaken. Or did you say you didn't have anything today?
Yes, we have two topics. Thank you very much, Anne. Happy to be here again, guys. So today we released the zero point 0.2 version. It has many utilities and many fixes from previous version. It's the first version that actually developers can go with relative ease and spin up their own VTubers, their own avatars. So there's also I'm posting the GitHub URL again here, and the GitHub URL is here. We have also give the URL of the game side which Dane develops, and this is also open source. Everything that you see here in this repository is open source. It's one single container cluster which you can spin up. Oh, by the way, I see that the Docker Compose misses, so I will just commit it in the next 10 minutes. But we have put everything, so you just need to copy the .example.env to the .env, and then you need to Docker Compose up, and you will launch your cluster. Then you need to download your game, and once you start the orchestrator agent script, you will be able to send natural language commands to your agents, and you will be able to, with natural language, change between agents and between appearance of agents. You have the ability to create your own templates to cover the user cases that you have in mind. It's way easier to develop on when compared to previous versions, and we are continuously engineering on that. You can check the changelog for more updates on what this version is bringing on. And some news regarding the incentivized pipeline. On Friday previous week, we got from our two new legal experts members the AML guide specifically for a user case. After we received the memorandum that verified we are not a money transmitter, we can continue with our pipeline. Now we need to implement the AML and the sanction screening. So this most probably will be implemented also open source, also in the incentivized pipeline repository, which I'm gonna drop the URL as well here. I need just to find it on GitHub. So uh, everything is technical. We need to prohibit some countries from transacting with us, so we will not send calls to anyone who is from Zaporizhia, so some Ukraine regions from Russia, Iran, etc., etc. If you have a wallet address which is on a dedicated 9,000 person list, on a dedicated American organization, which is under the Treasury, if I remember well, then you are also barred. If you have an entity that is controlled about 50 or more percent from one such barred entity, you will also not be able to receive calls as an orchestrator, but we will not ask any kind of identification, any kind of, we will just retain the IP and we'll do the blockchain analytics. So this process is gonna take 1 or 2 weeks. Most probably it's gonna be finished on the next week. And once that is finished, we can just restart the pipeline and we will be fully compliant and not liable for any kind of or with any kind of surprises. So these are the updates. Just to be clear, this utility is provided under a Delaware LLC, which I do control. So all the payments are not under the agent SP entity. We are still searching how we will accommodate the agent SP entity. The legal experts are also working on that. And one last thing is that we also work in tokenization and how to tokenize agents and how to provide you with the PNL tests, which are going to start with trader agents. They haven't started yet because we also need to look at the AML and sanction screening, even on the on such agents. And because with the current tech that we have, the current tools that we have on the autonomous agents and system 2 autonomous agents, they're not that great yet, so they will not be that profitable if we implement now. So we need one more update just to make sure that it can actually be something substantial and bring profit and not just doing something just for doing it. So yeah, that's it. As I said, we're also working on tokenization. We will give you update on tokenization and potential tokenomics this week, probably. And if you guys have any question for me or any feedback, or you want to try the application, you are more than welcome. I would be very happy to provide technical support if you want to test the application, if you want to develop upon, to fork it, especially as we will pause the development till the pipeline is out and to implement proper DevOps and version control.
Do you find you have a question in chat from Rick?
Oh, no, it's not my container. I will say to you for the second time that our containers are not yet operational. This is all thanks to Titan's work with Sarah. Once our containers are operational, you will see a further increase as well, especially when we are put more orchestrators in those kind of jobs.
Thank you for that again. I wasn't sure if the two were the same there, but this I'm gonna look into this repository. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I mean, congrats. I'm, as we've all been following the legal journey, and you're finally arriving at the solution. So congrats, Define and Agent team. Like, you guys have really killed it there.
Thank you, and it was a bit of a nightmare to have to deal with so much regulation, but it is well worth it, and it sets the stage for long-term network growth.
Absolutely. All right. Also, next topic was on the live infra SP for FTK. Just wanted to give you a round of applause for passing the treasury. Congrats on getting your SP spun up. Of course, whenever anyone creates an SP, passes the treasury, I create a role in the server. So I'm not sure, FTK, if you had any initial updates or anything you want to share about roadmap with folks, but feel free if you do.
Yeah, and thank you. I'll keep this brief. I will say right now I'm just in the thick of phase one. I'm redeploying all the existing service on new hardware and making some minor improvements, getting ready to, I would say, roll out more significant enhancements in phase two, which will be, you know, spanning, I would say, the month of August and into September. But I really just want to say thank you to the community. I mean, it was great to see all the support. I mean, a unanimous yes feels really good. So thank you for trusting in me, and I look forward to improving everyone's RPC experience on the network.
Yeah, 100% support is pretty amazing. All right. I think that I'm not sure if Titan, you had anything, but if not, the last thing that I had mentioned was maybe reviewing the pillars. If that, I know I'd mentioned that I didn't get any responses about it, so maybe we don't do that. But I do. Oh, Joseph just raised his hand. Let me invite him up. I think you can just come up, Joseph. I don't think you need to raise your hand, but welcome, Joseph. So we can review the pillars if people want. If not, I do suggest everybody to take a look at them. This week we are going to be doing objectives and kind of figuring out like shorter term actionable items that we can do for each for the strategies outlined by each of the ABs. So that's going to be super excited. I'm very excited for the governance one. I'm on that with Doug and a number of others. that one should be super exciting in terms of getting some more actionable governance items outlined. So, yeah, I just recommend everyone check it out. And Joseph, did you have anything you wanted to mention on that front? Saw you jumped up.
Hello, can you hear me? Sorry, my mic wasn't working.
Yes, now we
can you hear me
hear
now?
you. Welcome.
Super. Thanks, En, for bringing me up. Just a quick intro. I'm Joseph. I'm the communications lead for the Livepeer Foundation. And I just wanted to encourage everyone, as En said, to take a look at the strategic pillars. And really the best way for you to give that feedback is as a comment on the forum post, because this absolutely guarantees that your views, your opinions, your feedback will go to the board chairs and the board members, and it will help shape the last stages of the strategy setting and in turn Livepeer roadmap. So it really is very important, and this feedback that you give at this stage could have a huge impact. If you have views, do make sure you do it now, because it's a great opportunity to bring them into action.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joseph. All right. Any other topics folks have in their brains that want to mention before we wrap? That's all I had on my list.
I had a question, Rick. I'm not sure if you're up to speed on this, but in terms of like the stream diffusion pipelines that I know the community is experimenting with, I was wondering if you have a status update on like availability for node operators to get started preparing to run this. If not, we can get back to everyone.
Yeah, so we also have Peter here. I think he is more up to date, so I follow it a little bit now. Not on the implementation side, but people organizers can already run the real-time jobs. So I will share the post again. So please sign up to run these jobs. They're still in beta, so you will not be. It will not use like the discovery contract. So you have to sign up there, but you can already run this job. And I saw there's a lot of great progress made already. I just got something from Pocars as well, where he enabled LoRa's even to make it more customizable. But that's the latest update I have. We also have John and Peter, who are closer to the implementation side, maybe. Who can give an update. I don't see anybody from the Inc. team.
Yeah, I just know after like sort of all the Daydream showcases and attention, which is Daydreams being, reworked to improve some of those temporal consistency issues and be a more, better marketing demonstration of real-time AI. There were a couple applications and developers that were interested in building on top of it as an API into their own applications and looking for the stream diffusion workflows. So I know a lot of that, work is sort of in progress on the studio side to help enable that. And at the same time, I know orchestrators are onboarding to run those pipelines and making sure that the public network can be used for all those job types coming forward. So more to come in the coming weeks for sure, but good progress validating with developers that want to build on these, and obviously a lot of work to do to showcase more exciting examples.
Yeah, one note from my end on the community side for Daydream is that we're going to be expanding the personas for that community. The official kind of change is again, like Doug said, TBD, but kind of like early alpha here is we're going to be expanding the scope to try to expand the influence of the Daydream server, as well as get more people to use Daydream's API. So that there's already some early people who are going to be using it, and that's going to be rolled out in the next 2 weeks, I'm pretty sure. So exciting stuff to come. And I would suggest everyone to join the Daydream server and keep track of everything's happening there, because there's going to be a lot happening quite soon, which should be pretty exciting. All right. Any other questions, topics? Oh, welcome up, John. Did you have something you want to mention?
Yeah, just wanted to give it a little bit of a status update since we've begun our BYOC initiative for the past 2 weeks. So we've made incredible progress in working with the current Go Livepeer implementation of a BYOC registration. registering ComfyStream's capabilities onto the network. We've also built out a better implementation of our ComfyStream pipeline, so we can actually start and stop streams cleanly, unloading models and loading new ones, as well as using our multi-resolution functionality. We've built this into a package called PyTrickle, which is like an installable Python package. It's essentially just a chunk out of AI Runner, right? That does most of the video encoding and processing, kind of keep that separate. So what we're looking to enable is, pipeline BYOC developers to kind of install PyTrickle, define your own pipeline and process generic data types through that with Go Livepeer. So we've got a really good, you might call it a proof of concept with ComfyStream, and it's coming together really well. So just wanted to give an update there. I know Peter and the rest of the team, we're still looking to finalize our milestone dates and roadmap. But I would say like audio transcription is probably our most interesting use case at the moment. And I think that this PyTrickle SDK could be very useful for the agent SPE as far as like generating output video without necessarily having input video or having your input and output types be different data types. So happy to answer any questions around that effort, and can also post a link to our work.
I have a question. I would be very happy to try out if you have a repository, especially now that we post development on the main repo, and I would like to see ways that we can synergize with ComfyStream and your custom pipeline.
Yeah, I think that would be very feasible. We're looking at maybe extending PyTrickle for different use cases, but I think it's a good idea, maybe tying two pipelines together. Latency obviously is something to think about, but the way I see ComfyStream really working is more or less, I think your pipeline generates a video output, right, on its own. And you're using RTMP currently.
So yes, we're using RTMP, but the current pipeline is not 100% implemented, and it does not work as just input output. So it just makes sure that the resources are consumed, and how it's gonna be on the finished version is just okay. I'm understanding that you're running the avatar, that you're running all systems, and you're running on Llama and everything works. It's not gonna verify that you're outputting in a specific that you're outputting in a specific format or in Twitter or in whatever.
Right.
So I would like to just see how your pipeline operates and just take into account what kind of changes we need to do in the final architecture of ours to limit any kind of latency.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's right where I was thinking. Yeah, take a look at these two links here. So what I think you'll be able to use is actually install PyTrickle into your current container. And as you're, instead of processing RTMP output, you're essentially going to be working with the trickle protocol. And that'll push
So
those
this is
segments up to light.
WebRTC.
It's actually something developed internally at Livepeer. And that's kind of why we needed an SDK for it, because no one really knows how it works. So by taking that to an installable package, we can now use this across different, different containers, let's say, without having to copy too much code.
This is
So
not
this will,
GPU dependent, right?
that's a good question. I believe it runs on the GPU in our current version, but let's take a look there. I'm sure you can switch that off. So all the Torch, I believe, imports are in ComfyStream. I have to check. So it's essentially a chunk out of AI Runner. You will need probably OpenCV.
I'm asking because I have 50 series, and last time I tried to run the ComfyStream, it had issues and it needed special modification and handling to allow for 50 series. So I just didn't do it.
It's a good thing to look at. Yeah, it looks like our requirements allow Torch 1.12 or newer, so you should be able to I'd be interested to see how it goes. It should work in different containers with different requirements. You're not tied to, Comfy Streams requirements at all. These are just bare minimum requirements for video frame processing and trickle. But yeah, essentially, if you have an image that you're working with as an output, this will allow you to encode those into output frames that Go Livepeer can receive and process.
Okay, so it's also a way of introducing Go Livepeer encoding.
Exactly. Yeah. So if let's say you're building a BYOC container, I think the challenge we've had before is getting that video output back to Go Livepeer. Like we can send the job in with our new register capability endpoint, API registration, but like processing any video in or out requires work on the Go Livepeer side. That it's only working with a certain encoding format, but yeah, that's basically what PyTrickle does. Is it just follows that same format, so you don't have to build your own encoder and decoder, like I tried to do for 3 weeks.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna try it and gonna give you feedback. I don't know if we can reach full integration, but we can at least reach a POC and be aware of what kind of architecture we need for stacking different pipelines together. But because you say that all we have to do is to give you a frame output, basically, I believe that this is very feasible on maintaining our own pipeline, how we want to continue developing, and just giving you the frame output and concatenate the pipelines in such a way that both operate without major changes.
Yeah, I mean, as far as concatenating pipelines, this doesn't necessarily address that. This just addresses your interface with Go Livepeer, which will be important. Just getting, I think, the agent video output, like Eliza or something, talking on Go Livepeer, or maybe even, I think you guys use SSE for input, but I know Brad has helped a little bit with that. So maybe you already have something that this would just drop into to handle your video output.
And John, this is really communication between the orchestrator slash AI worker and the runner. Is that correct? Or is it?
That's absolutely correct. Yeah, it essentially allows you to replace the runner in a sense. If you're using BYOC, that's really what we're doing. And this is a little early approach, but yeah, essentially cutting out AI runner and making a reusable, SDK to interface with Go Livepeer orchestrators. Well, thanks for the questions. Hope I didn't take up too much time there.
No, the time is here for us to take. Yeah, well, super great conversation again. Good job on the BYOC progress. The last update for me is we are going to be having the summit that I posted about. So definitely RSVP using that link. I think I posted it last week. So we're trying to get early interest and understanding who would want to fly out to attend the unconference. And I'm super excited. I'll be there, as will the rest of the Livepeer Inc. team and the foundation team. So I think many folks from AISP. But regardless, it will be a really great time to be in person, connect more deeply, and talk about how we continue to move the project forward. I think one thing I'm really interested in right now for the delegator workshop, and I haven't shared the flyers in the community just because it's not, you guys know about delegation already. I'm really trying to explore what it looks like to get inbound community for us, what it looks like to get more delegators, get more people interested in live video AI. So I'm collaborating deeply with Ria, as well as Eric, to try to understand, how do we get more people, more butts in seats, and a part of that is, what is the narrative that's going to capture the imagination of people, So if anyone has any ideas, always feel free to hit me up. If people have ideas, you can post them in general. You can book a time in my calendar. But I'm really interested in why you guys continue to show up, and how you talk about Livepeer to people who don't know much about it. I have my own opinions, of course, but yeah. Rick, something to say?
No, thank you for hosting this again.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were coming on camera because you're going to talk.
No, I just came on camera to
you're
answer
good.
the call.
Okay, well, anyway, that's my spiel. I hope I can see you guys in Portugal. It was super cool to meet people in person. I don't think I've met many. I think I've only met Rick and Rich, not Rick. Oh my God, Rich and Ria in person. I'm trying to think if I've met anyone else in person. Anyway, yeah. So definitely let's try to get there if you can. Anything else? Are we good?
Good from my end.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining Watercooler. We're going to have Fireside on Wednesday. We're going to have some announcements from Foundation, and then we're also going to have some discussion with Eli about peer-to-peer video networks. There was a project recently that launched that is exploring kind of that space, and Eli had some critiques about it and some comments that I thought were interesting to make more visible in the community and then the larger audience for Livepeer. So we'll be talking about that. All right, guys. Until next time.
Yeah, guys, have a great day ahead.
You have a great day.